Good morning. This week we're in a portion that you know well. It's the portion that involves the story of Jacob's ladder. You probably heard of that phrase. There's a dance troupe in the Berkshires that's named Jacob's Ladder. It involves Jacob having a dream immediately after the story of the Akedah. And he imagines a ladder that goes up from where he is to heavens, and there are angels going up and down. It's a very well-known story about Jacob. It's also in this portion that we learn about Jacob and his betrothal to Rachel and Leah. Jacob falls in love with Laban's daughters. He has two. The oldest is Leah, the youngest is Rachel. And he falls in love with Rachel. As a matter of fact, this portion has one of maybe the most romantic line in the entire Torah. When Jacob sees Rachel and makes a deal with Laban, he has to work for Rachel for 7 years. And the Torah text tells us that Jacob worked for Rachel for 7 years, but it seemed in his eyes as but a few days because of his love for her. It's a wonderfully romantic phrase from the Torah. But as you all know, what happens is that Jacob works for Rachel, and on their wedding night, Jacob thinks he's with Rachel and alas, wakes up, and who is it? It's Leah. How could this possibly happen? There's a midrash that talks about this, and what the midrash says is that when Jacob inquires to Leah, how did you get here? How did this happen? How did it work out that it's you instead of Rachel? And then how could you deceive me? Leah says to Jacob, I learned from you, Jacob, how you deceived your father by substituting yourself as the youngest for your brother Esau, the oldest, and that's what I have done here. It's a very interesting little teaching in that we learn that it's a little bit of karma. What comes around goes around. And Jacob has to confront the fact that his actions have repercussions and they go on, and that how you treat others ultimately comes back to haunt you. It's a painful lesson. It's a difficult lesson. Jacob ultimately prevails and marries Rachel as well. But we learn in this portion that your behavior has ripples throughout the universe that we can never possibly know, and that is a cautionary tale that we should always do the right thing and be honest in all of our dealings. So a little teaching about Parshat Vayetze, which is this week's portion. We're looking forward to seeing you tonight at the Judea Feud, which is going to be a great event. I hope you're going to join us. I hope you've signed up. We're going to gather in the Gore Sanctuary at 6:15 for a fabulous night of worship. And afterwards, I hope you'll be staying with us to have some fun with Judea Feud. It's going to be a great time. On behalf of the whole clergy team, I'm wishing you Shabbat Shalom.